My name is David Kuria, and I'm going to tell the story of my mom. Her name is Margaret. So my mom and I have been very close for many years. She's a single mother of three. I'm the last of the three, and I feel like she's spoiled me a little bit, taken some extra care with her last born son. But if I think about how to describe her, she's been very strong, very enterprising, entrepreneurial. She did really well in business through her life. My mom was, she's been my defender, I think, through all my years. I mean, I remember being in high school, and when you're in high school, somehow the devil just kind of enters you. I remember being in Form 2 and just being a really dumb kid and doing some dumb things and being sent home. I remember one time coming back with her, and she made such a fuss in the school about letting me back in. She caused for the principal, the deputy, the house, everybody, and eventually they let me back in. And she, just an amazing woman, and just a wonderful spirit. What kind of happened with my mom is a couple of years ago we began to notice that she began to change. First thing is she began to get forgetful, and she actually noticed it and began buying memory tablets, thinking it's a pretty small issue. But she'd forget where she's put the car keys, the house keys. She'd forget that you've had a conversation, so you'd have the same conversation with her over and over again. And you just begin to wonder what's wrong with her. Sometimes you think maybe it's just aging, it's just the aging process that's taking place. So we didn't think too much of it. However, as it just began to deteriorate, I remember one particular day, being at work. My mom used to live alone. By this stage, she gotten a bit hostile towards people, and we just thought maybe it's just age, or I don't know, something hormonal, I don't know what it is. But I remember she didn't want to live with anyone, so she lived alone. And I remember one day just going to visit her. I just felt an urge to go see her, and I went and I drove up to her place, went up to her place and knocked on the door, and I knocked like for 15 minutes. And I could see the TV was on, I could see there's a cup of tea, I mean through the window I could see there's a cup of tea on the table, but she wasn't there. So I asked the security guards, the caretakers, have you seen her? And they say for the past couple of days they haven't seen her. So I got very concerned. So, I really knocked on the door really hard for a long time. Eventually mom comes out, and she's very inappropriately dressed, and I'm very confused. But what surprised me is she was unable to open the door. She didn't know how to open the door. She walked all up and down the room. She was so confused. And I kept saying through the window, Mother, come. Here are the keys, open the door. And she was completely unable to open the door. 2 days later, almost the same thing happened. But this time when we broke into the house, we found her unconscious. And she had passed out. My mom was diabetic, and what happened is she didn't know how to manage her insulin. So she would give herself an overdose and almost kill herself. So I'm grateful I found her, because, I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't found her in time. We began just as a family thinking, what do we do? And we got her some doctors, we took her to a psychiatrist, we thought it was a psychiatric problem. And with dementia and Alzheimer's, everyone thinks it's a psychiatric problem, but it really isn't. A psychiatrist, a very senior psychiatrist, saw us, and it was very unfortunate what happened, because all he did was just drug her. He gave her a ton of medicine, and I remember one time he gave her so much medicine that she passed out and ended up in HDU within a couple of hours of taking the medicine. And I was very frustrated, I really was. And it's at this point that some friends of ours from ADOK said to me, take her to see a neurologist. That's when we kind of discovered that this is what the problem was. And she was diagnosed with dementia. And it was very difficult for us, I think, just coming to terms with it. Over the past couple of years, her condition has deteriorated quite a lot. Her memory is very poor. She doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember people. She doesn't remember when she was born, where she studied. I remember one day, my brother, I was living with her, then we moved in to take care of her, my wife and I. And one day my older brother came over just to say hello. And I remember the three of us sitting in her room, in her bedroom, and she turns to me and she whispers to me, and she's like, David, who is this man? I don't want him here. Please tell him to go. And this is her son, her firstborn son, who's really her favorite son. And she kind of just began to, her memory became very poor. She was unable to cook, clean, or do any of those things. Now it's become much worse to the place where even communicating is a huge problem. We're not able to have a conversation anymore. She doesn't remember pretty much everything now. Somehow she remembers me, and I'm grateful for that, but that's pretty much as her memory allows her right now. And it's frustrating. It's been very frustrating and very difficult for us. Financially, it's been a huge challenge. I think just taking care of her, meeting all her bills. Emotionally as well, it's been very draining. I mean, I can't explain to you what it's like to see someone who you've loved through so many years, you've had great relationship. They're unable to walk up the stairs. They're unable to go to the bathroom. They're unable to feed themselves. They're scared. Everything frightens them. She's just lives her life in this state of everything. She's afraid of everything. And this is a lady who was strong, who was confident, who was so outgoing. And this dementia has been a very difficult experience for myself, for my wife, and just for the entire family, trying to figure out what to do with it. And I feel it's important for us to talk about this thing. It's important for us to have these kinds of conversations where we say, this is dementia, this is Alzheimer's, this is what it's doing to people. And the reason for that, I feel, is because this thing is growing. Years ago, it's not a disease you heard about, but now I hear about it more and more with younger and younger people. And unless we kind of begin the conversation, unless we kind of kill the stigma around it and allow ourselves the freedom to talk, we'll never get to the place where we develop dementia or Alzheimer's friendly societies. And I think it's important for us. But also, when you talk about it, so there's more awareness, so there's more research put into it, so we can begin to figure out how do we cure this thing at some stage. I believe that there's a cure for it. We haven't found it yet, but I believe that it's there. And I think it's important we have the conversation, so we lead to a cure and dementia friendly, society. And that's the reason I think it's a very important conversation. My name is David Kuria. I'm an Alzheimer's soldier.